These are some helpful phrases that you can use when you're speaking Spanish. The first one is acabar de. Acabar de means to have just finished doing something. Acabar de can be conjugated in any tense, but you most commonly hear it in the present and the past. For example, yo acabo de explicar las reglas del juego means I just finished explaining the rules of the game. And nosotros acabábamos de salir means we had just left cuando empezó a llover, when it started raining. There's also an expression that's ambos, and that means both. So when you're talking about two things at once, you can refer to both of them at the same time. Ambos is only used in affirmative sentences, which means you can't use it in any sentence that has no. And ambos is considered an adjective, which means it matches the gender and number of the things that it's describing. For example, me interesan ambas clases. You can see that ambos changes to ambas because it's las clases. Vas a comer ambos platos means are you going to eat both dishes? Then we have a lo mejor, which means maybe. A lo mejor is used to make guesses. What comes after a lo mejor can be subjunctive or indicative based on the guess. If you're really sure, then you use the indicative. If you're not really sure, then you use the subjunctive. So here are two examples. ¿Dónde está la escuela? A lo mejor está en Research Triangle Park. This person is pretty sure that it's in Research Triangle Park, so they're using the indicative. ¿Cuántos años tiene ella? A lo mejor tenga 16 años. This person's really not sure how old the girl is, so they're guessing. Así que means so. It's used to explain the reason for something. It's not so that. That's para qué. Here's an example. Me gusta la pizza, así que voy a comprarme un pedazo. So the sentence is saying, I like pizza, so I'm going to buy a slice. Este video es muy importante, así que vas a tomar apuntes. So this video is very important, so you're going to take notes. Then we have más bien, which is a very helpful expression that means more like. It corrects an incorrect comparison. Ese no es un perro, es más bien un oso. That sentence is saying, that's not a dog, it's more like a bear. Then we have por eso, which means for that reason or therefore. It explains the reason for something, which is similar to así que, but you use por eso in between two separate sentences, whereas así que connects a sentence together. So let's look at examples. Me gusta la pizza, por eso voy a comprarme un pedazo. That's the same example as in así que, except it's separated into two different sentences. Este video es muy importante, por eso vas a tomar apuntes. Then we have pues and bueno, which both mean well, and it's used when you're not sure what to say. It's like a placeholder. In English we say or like. They'll say pues or bueno if they're not sure what they're going to say next. ¿Me preguntas si me gustan los perros? Pues supongo que sí. It's just sort of a placeholder to give the speaker time to think. Ese hombre era, pues, un presidente muy importante. Then we have sabes, which is exactly what you think it means. It means you know. It's used at the end of a sentence, and it's very informal and or casual. So you don't want to use sabes when you're talking to a teacher. But it's just something that people put at the end of a sentence to make sure that the listener is actually listening. Esta película es muy buena, ¿sabes? Or hoy es viernes, ¿sabes? It's just like how people say you know at the end of a sentence in English. Si es tan amable is a really good expression to use. It means if you'd be so kind. You use it to ask somebody to do something for you, and it's very common to hear in stores and in restaurants. Tráigame un tenedor si es tan amable. This is somebody talking to a waiter asking for a fork. Puede darme esa camisa si es tan amable. And then here we have somebody working at a clothing store, and a customer is asking them for a shirt. If you use si es tan amable, then you will seem a whole lot nicer as a customer.